Welcome back to another reading and correcting of the Used Child. With me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. Today, we are doing Chapter 18. Alex looks through the windshield of the squat structure visible across a large lawn of purplish-green grass, while he tried to figure out how to explain what he felt in a way that wouldn't get him killed. Why are we doing it this way? He turned to face Tristan to find the Samaritan's gaze fixed on him. It'd be a lot easier for me to go in their system and have it send email out to wait for us. It isn't how the academy functions. Pickups happen inside by the parents or a properly appointed security agency. Don was so casual it did nothing to comfort Alex. Having me try to convince anyone in there is putting the mission at risk. You were able to convince the woman in the office. Alex felt for the ID in his pocket. Sure, but she was barely paying attention to me. This guy is going to be looking for exactly what we're doing. Tristan nodded, and the end of his lips curled up, showing the tip of his teeth. It wasn't a reassuring smile, but that is his job. In fact, we are doing it this way in part because the guard at the desk has the most reported call-ins about attempts to. And you're sending me to try and fool him? The glare had him try to back away. He opened his mouth to apologize, but shut it. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't apologizing for being concerned about his life. He hadn't stayed alive all these years by taking stupid risks. Can I continue? The smile was still there, but the tone was harsh. Alex nodded. Each time he has called in, it was a false alert. He currently holds the record for the most frivolous call into the local law. We could send in the Weber man, and even as drunk as he is, the guard wouldn't risk calling it in. The order isn't even in the system. That can push him over the edge of his fear of ridicule. I should at least put that in. I don't want any evidence remaining behind that this is anything other than a pickup. Alex would point out that a normal pickup would have the order in the system, but the glare kept him from doing that. You saw how easily I took control of Weber's system. I've been in this one. I can easily make it forget everything. You could miss something. Alex ground his teeth. He wasn't some rookie working in this first system. He didn't miss anything. Those glaring eyes kept him from saying it. The target's parents are rich, wealthier than you can comprehend. People like that do things their way. Procedures are for other people. Those who can't afford to pay to send their children to the Orwell Academy. His parents told you to go pick their son up. It is what you are doing. If someone along the chain forgot to tell the academy, that isn't your problem. Have the guard contact the target's parents if he gives you any trouble. Or you want him to... Is this so you can find out who his parents are? Are you looking for them so you can warn them or something? Hope flared that maybe Tristan was such a bad person after all, and died almost immediately. To extort money from them? The job is to bring the target to our employer. I do the job I am hired to. Then why have him call his parents? Because he won't do it. Tristan replied with an edge to his voice. Someone like a common guard doesn't get to talk to people as important as the target's parent. At best, the contact he has works for the parents. More likely, it's to an agency tasked with fielding any incoming calls, but the only thing he will consider is what it could mean for his career if this is yet another false alarm. So you will insist he call whoever he needs whoever he needs to. So you will insist he call whoever he needs to call to assuage his suspicion. Alex didn't like this. Subterfuge wasn't his thing. When it came to being on the front line, he was a gun and knife kind of guy. At least he had, give me your earpiece. Tristan said, his hand out, waiting. Why? Alex, I will remind you that you are mine. Tristan replied with that hint of exasperation in his voice. You don't get to question what I say. You do it. Or what if something goes wrong? I might need it to pull off the mission. Everything will be fine. Tristan smiled, showing all his teeth. But if it isn't, you don't need to worry. I'll still pull off the job. My contingency plan is still in effect, and maybe knowing that the death toll will be in the dozen if I need to resort to it will motivate you to put as much effort as you can into doing this. Alex hesitated. He was defenseless without it. Tristan was setting him up to be killed. That was what this was about. Well, fuck this. He slammed the earpiece in Simone's head. He wasn't dying here. He didn't care about whatever this contingency plan was or how many people would die. Alex wasn't going to give Tristan the satisfaction. It was that simple. I'll be waiting here, Tristan said jovially, as Alex got out of the hover, fought the impulse to slam the door, and kept on trying to calm himself as he walked across the landing lot to the entry gate. The guard barely looked at his ID when Alex showed it, and he didn't have to explain why he was here before the gate opened to let him onto the academy grounds. What kind of security was this? Shouldn't that woman be more vigilant? As he walked on the path leading to the building, he felt like he was being watched, which he was. The cameras and sensors were tracking him. By reflex, he reached in his pocket, wanting the comfort of his earpiece. Tristan knows what he's doing, he told himself, since the pocket was empty. He wouldn't set this all up just to kill me. It was ruthless, but me getting email is the easiest, cleanest way to do the job. All I have to do is stick to the plan, and hope everyone else sticks to it too. Been a merc for long enough to expect things to go smoothly. He'd been a merc for too long to expect things to go smoothly. At least he had Aaron's Weber-provided gun if the plan wasn't coded right. Not that he was looking forward to having to explain to Tristan why he had to shoot his way out. He managed to school his expression into one of boredom by the time he reached the building. Boredom was something he could do. It was the one emotion every mercenary had to master if they wanted to earn a living doing this. Eagerness led to being underpaid. The lobby was large and uninviting. A square room the color of stone with only one door on the opposite side. You have to go around the guard's desk in the middle of the room to rush it. He estimated the distance at 30 paces from the desk to that door. The stunners he couldn't see in the wall, but the stunners he couldn't see. The stunners he couldn't see. Why are you highlighting? Really? Okay. The stunners he couldn't see in the wall, but that had been noted on the building blueprint would bring him down before he'd taken 4 of them. Alex handed his ID to the man, who was already looking at him suspiciously behind glasses. Readout glasses, Alex thought. Someone working here had to be able to afford something as cheap as eyesight correction. I'm here to pick up Emil Rethal. The man scanned the card and looked to the side at something Alex couldn't see. Unless it was an act, it would be a screen, which meant the glasses didn't have a display. His hand twitched as he fought the urge to grab the earpiece he didn't have. He wanted to verify it. Nobody told me anything about one of our kids leaving today. Alex leaned the counter, noticed his shaking hands before he crossed his arm to hide them. That's what I was told to do. The man handed the ID back. Well, that's too bad. No one leaves here without the proper form being filled. Suspicion in the man's eye went up a notch. Alex sighed and hoped it didn't sound as shaky as he thought it did. Look, I'm just doing what I'm told. Probably got held up. It's going to get here any minute. And you wait. I told you. No form, no kid. Alex took out his pad, looked at it, and put it away. So I so don't have the time for this. Supposed to be at a spaceport in an hour. Not my... Just called him, okay? They'll clear this up. All who? The kid's parent? Who else? Alex said he pissed himself for almost using Emil's name. There was no way some random security guard would do that. You have their contact, right? Just have them authorize whatever they need to so I can do my job. Emil looked at something over his shoulder. At something to his other side that Alex couldn't see. That isn't how things are done. Alex leaned in and lowered his voice. Look, I know this is your job. I get that you're looking out for the kids, and you don't want to get in trouble over this. But all you know, I'm here to kidnap the kid. Mr. Chekhov. But you know those people, they think the universe revolves around them. Just contact them. It's going to put you in the clear. You'll have done you'll have done what you can to make sure this is proper. The guard twitched. Alex could see him wanting to reach for something, but instead he forgot. Instead, he forced a chuckle of his own. Yeah, you're right. Well, he just stuck in the aether or something. He grumbled the rest under his breath. And only Alex's proximity allowed him to hear. Rich asshole even bothered funny. You'd think one of them would follow procedures. I remembered Alex, and I was there and looked at him worried. I shrugged. I don't work for them, so I don't care how you feel. All I'm interested in is doing my job. The man typed something. Yes, you have to deal with that too. People like us don't matter today. He read something. Emil will be here in a minute. Alex nodded and walked around this side of the room. When he stepped closer to the wall, part of it became a screen showing happy children playing and learning. Over that, it listed all the reason Orwell Academy was the place to keep children safe and have them trained to become the best they could. After the third such advertisement, snorted. He didn't care how much money he accumulated. He would never bring a child of his to a place like this. Not that he saw himself as a father. Smile at the image of him and Tristan raising a kid. He smiled as the image of him and Tristan raising a kid popped into his head. He shook it to chase us away. Turned to face the door as it opened. A woman stepped into the room, accompanied by a child carrying a suitcase almost too large for him. The boy matched the image of Emil they'd been provided, but he was older now. 8, Alex thought, as he stepped around the desk. But stop, even with it. Emil froze on seeing him. Emil, someone said in a stern tone, keep moving. Tried to hide behind her, but she grabbed Emil's shoulder and held him in place. That man isn't my father. Emil, her tone was harsher. Do what you're told. The boy trembled, but shook his head. It's okay, Alex told him as he crouched. Took out his ID. I'm Aaron. I'm with Weber Security. See? He indicated the logo. The guard verified that I am who I claim to be. Emil nodded, even if there was no way he could see anything on the ID card from where he was. There had been no mention of arguments with him. I'm here to take you to your father. The line made him want to throw up. This was just a kid. Why isn't he here? Emil asked, his voice trembling. He's busy. He sent me to keep you safe while we go meet him. Wanted out of here. Children no business getting drawn into these kind of machinations. Emil studied Alex without moving. The woman let go of his shoulder. Don't! I snapped. Emil twitched, but Alex's eyes were fixed on the woman. She was in the process of winding up for a shove. Alex stood. Emil Rithal is my charge. You lay one hand on him and I will break it. Yeah, no problem. The threat. She tried to glare Alex down, but she couldn't match his anger. Alex offered his hand to Emil, who, after a long moment, dragged his suitcase across the room to take it. Do you want me to carry your case? Emil shook his head. He let Emil dictate their speed, and the boy walked as fast as he could, burdened as he was. As the hover came into view, Tristan got out of it and Emil froze. Alex almost panicked. He should have known this would happen. It wasn't like Emil would be used to alien, but Emil didn't bolt. He just stood there, worry on his face. Alex realized Emil was counting on him to keep him safe. Emil, this is... He looked for the right word. Partner. Tristan stepped around the hover and crouched before Emil and still managed to tower over him. Hello, Emil. I'm Brian. There was something in the voice Alex hadn't expected. A softness to it. He barely remembered from when he was with Jack. His heart tightened. No, he remembered himself. This was another act. We're going to take you to your father, Alex said in the stretching silence. Tristan glanced up at him, then nodded. Your father asked us to keep you safe. He offered his hand to Emil. Tentatively, Emil placed a minuscule hand in Tristan's. Is my father here? There was so much hope in that question. No, Tristan replied gently. He's off planet. We're going to take you to him. Emil's face fell, but immediately it was back to a neutral expression. He nodded and stepped towards the hover, letting go of Alex's hand. Tristan placed 2 fingers in the suitcase handle and linked Emil's hand, and after a moment, Emil let go. He passed it to Alex, who put it in the trunk next to the still sleeping man. Tristan got into the back of the hover with Emil, so Alex piloted them to the spaceport. He hadn't gotten over the surprise of Tristan sitting with a child when they reached it. He couldn't think of the large Somalian wanting to be close to a child at any time. As they reached the entrance to the port, Tristan handed Alex a chip, which he gave to the guard. The guard scanned it, pocketed it, and let them in. Alex took the hover to their private pad, landing a few steps away from the ship. Tristan handed him a small pack. You know how this works. Alex took the cans of biological decontaminant spray. Yes. Take care of the hover. I'll be back once Emil is settled in. Alex put gloves on and proceeded to spray every surface inside and outside the hover. Tristan returned just as he finished the last of the cans. He passed the scanner over the vehicle and nodded. Alex did his best not to be annoyed at the lack of trust. Tristan had Alex take Aaron out of the trunk and put him under control of the hover. When he rejoined Tristan, the Somalian was finishing spraying the inside of the trunk. Closed it, and they headed to the ship. Tristan handed Alex the earpiece. You have 15 minutes to remove any indication you were in Weber's and the Academy system while I prepare for takeoff. And Alex, I do mean every indication, even that code you hid to grant you access at a later time. I don't want to find anything of yours and theirs if I ever decide to check. Alex nodded, wondering how Tristan had managed to tell that apart from all the other command he typed into the system. He only considered leaving those in anyway for a second before his leg twitched with imaginary pain. And this concludes chapter 18 of The Used Child. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next one's going to be, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story, the book, as well as the other ones in this series, you can find them on every major e-retailer. If you want to support me and get access to basically everything I've written, you can do that on my Patreon. And if you want to listen to me record these live, it's on Twitch every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. The links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.